You know the feeling, right? You get a project with a one-week deadline, and somehow it takes exactly 1 week. Or an essay that's due in a month. Yeah, you find yourself working on it for that entire month. It's this super frustrating thing where our tasks just seem to mysteriously stretch out to fill whatever time we give them. So what is going on here?
I mean, seriously, why does this happen? It feels like it's a fundamental law of the universe or something. You could have a simple 2-hour task, but if you're given 2 weeks to do it, it somehow morphs into this huge, complicated effort. Well, it turns out there's actually a name for this exact phenomenon. And this little nugget of wisdom right here, the Stock-Sanford corollary, just captures that feeling perfectly. It's that sudden, almost magical burst of extreme productivity that only shows up moments before the deadline hits. It's hilarious because it's so painfully true for all of us. All right, so let's get to it. What is the official diagnosis for this time-bending problem we all seem to have? It's time to put a name to this universal experience.
It's called Parkinson's Law, and what's really fascinating is where it came from. This wasn't some dry academic study. Nope, it actually came from a satirical essay in The Economist all the way back in 1955. The author, C. Northcote Parkinson, was poking fun at the British civil service when he wrote the now famous line, "Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion." It literally started as a joke, but it turned out to be one of the most profound truths about human nature.
And this core idea is so powerful because it applies to so much more than just our to-do lists. I mean, think about it. In the world of computers, there's a version that says, "Data expands to fill the space available for storage." Have you ever noticed that no matter how big your new phone or hard drive is, it's always full? Yep, that's Parkinson's Law in action. Or in big organizations, officials make work for each other, which explains why bureaucracies just keep getting bigger no matter how much work there actually is. The principle is always the same. Whatever container you have, time, space, staff, it somehow always gets filled to the brim.
Okay, so if work expands to fill time, the solution seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? Let's talk about the common advice for this problem, and more importantly, why it might not be the whole story.
The conventional wisdom, the thing you hear all the time, is just to give yourself less time, right? If a project is due in a week, tell yourself you only have 2 days. If you have an hour, give yourself 20 minutes. The idea is to squeeze the container, and you'll force yourself to get the work done faster.
But here's the million-dollar question. If the fix was really that simple, wouldn't we all be masters of productivity by now? Why do we still find ourselves mindlessly scrolling through social media when we know we only have 2 days to finish that report? This kind of suggests the problem isn't just about the clock, it's something deeper.
This chart really lays it out perfectly. It's like an iceberg. The simple fix, the part you see above the water, is all about time management. But the real issue, the giant block of ice hidden below the surface, is rooted in our own psychology. It's about emotional avoidance. It changes the question from, how can I do this faster, to a much more important one, why am I trying so hard to avoid this in the first place?
So let's stop talking about time management for a second and dive into the psychology of it all. Let's uncover the real engine that's driving our procrastination. This is where it gets really good.
The author Mark Manson, who wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, has this really powerful way of looking at it. He argues that procrastination isn't really about being lazy at all. It's a form of emotional self-defense. We're not actually avoiding the work itself, we're avoiding the feelings that the work brings up inside us.
He even has a name for it, Manson's Law of Avoidance, and it states, the more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it. Think about that. If you want to start a new business, you might procrastinate because the fear of failure threatens your identity as a stable, secure person. Or maybe you want to write a novel. You'll avoid it because what if it's terrible? That threatens your identity as a potential great writer. We're not avoiding the task, we're avoiding the potential pain of failure or judgment. And this avoidance creates something Manson calls the feedback loop from hell. Here's how it works. First, you feel anxious about a task, but then you start to feel anxious about being anxious. This double anxiety feels awful, it's overwhelming, so you do anything you can to make it stop, like opening up YouTube and watching cat videos. And that avoidance gives you a little bit of temporary relief, which then teaches your brain that, hey, avoidance is a great strategy. And just like that, you've reinforced the entire miserable cycle.
So how in the world do we break out of this loop? Well, the cure is surprisingly simple, and it's also completely counterintuitive. It's called the do something principle.
See, most of us operate under this flawed assumption. We believe that we need to feel inspired,
that we need to feel motivated before we can actually do something. We're all just sitting around waiting for that lightning bolt of inspiration to strike.
But what if that entire way of thinking is just wrong? What if we have the cause and effect relationship completely backwards?
And here is the key insight, again from Manson. Action isn't just the effect of motivation, it is also the cause of it. Let that sink in. Motivation isn't something you need to start acting, it's the reward you get for acting.
So let's look at the new loop this creates. You start with one tiny action. You don't feel like going to the gym? Fine, just put on your workout clothes. That's it. That small action creates a tiny spark of inspiration. You think, well, I'm already dressed. That inspiration then fuels the motivation to take the next step, like grabbing your keys and driving to the gym. Action creates inspiration, which in turn creates motivation. It's a virtuous cycle that feeds itself.
This is such a great real-world example of this principle. There was a novelist who wrote over 70 books, and when someone asked him how he was so productive, he said his rule was simple. 200 crappy words per day. That's it. His goal wasn't to write a masterpiece every single day. The goal was just to act. And guess what? More often than not, that small, totally manageable action would snowball into thousands of words.
So let's bring this all back to where we started with Parkinson's law. It doesn't have to be this curse that dooms us all to be inefficient. We can completely reframe it. It's not a law of physics. Think of it more like a signal from your brain.
So the next time you feel that work starting to expand, the next time you feel yourself starting to procrastinate, see it as a sign. It's your brain telling you that you're stuck in one of those avoidance loops. And the way to break out of that loop is to take one tiny, almost insignificant action, to just do something.
So really, the big takeaway here is that action is the antidote to anxiety. The next time you're facing a task that just feels huge and overwhelming, don't wait for motivation to show up. Just ask yourself this one simple question. What is the smallest possible step I can take right now to get started? Maybe it's opening the document, maybe it's writing a single sentence, or maybe it's just putting on your running shoes. Whatever it is, just do something.